Coming up on USL Pro Weekly, the Charleston Battery ignite their season with a pair of road victories. We talk with Omar Salgado about the 2 wins and his time in Charleston. Orlando City keeps its undefeated start rolling with victory against OKC. We talk with Dennis Chin about his recent run of form. There's a big weekend of action ahead. Which sides will rise to the occasion? All of this and much more on this edition of USL Pro Weekly. Welcome in to USL Pro Weekly. My name's Nicholas Murray. Very pleased to be joined this week by Jake Edwards. Jake, welcome in.
Yeah, hi, thanks.
Absent David Wagner this week. The lucky man is off on his honeymoon, getting married to his lovely fiancée Vicky, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, we hope it's lucky.
It definitely will be. Lovely couple. So congratulations to them, and congratulations to the Sacramento Republic FC. A really good win out on the West Coast on Saturday night against the Orange County Blues. Their first home win at Hughes Stadium. 17,414 fans on hand to watch it. Really great second day, as it were, attendance after the sellout on opening night. Adam Jean scores the winning goal, and this kind of keeps the momentum for Sacramento rolling forward. They're up to 10 points now. They're solidly in the top 4 in the league standings, and I thought it was a very nice performance by them. Got a good goal by Tommy Stewart late in the first half. I thought it was a deserved goal as well, because they had really been pushing the tempo, pushing the pressure. Blues hit back. Very well taken goal by Alan Russell with the diving header early in the second half, but Sacramento didn't lose their composure, come back, and Jean's on hand to knock home a cross that comes off the crossbar. He's in the right place to knock it home and earn his side all 3 points.
Yeah, right place, right time. Great to get the winner there. You could see all the passion and excitement and the celebration after that game and what it meant for him and the team and for the supporters. So phenomenal turnout, 17,000+ there. It was a shame they did everything right in the first on the home opener, just didn't get the result. So they'll be very pleased with that. The coaching staff will be pleased. I think the team bounced back from that disappointing home opening loss, and they put out a very strong performance. I think they were well worth the value. Yeah, definitely were. I mean, I thought the Blues played well in spells. And they certainly, at the start of the second half, they came out, they got the goal, and they looked very positive. They looked as though they were going to have a chance to maybe grab a second. But once Sacramento had ridden that out, they were able to get more numbers forward, and they were kind of able to regain the hold that they had on the game for much of the first half. Yeah, you're right. I think they managed to get back on top of the game. The Blues look a good side, without doubt, and just in spells they're a little inconsistent. And Sacramento were able to get back in the game, get a foothold of the game, and take control. So a lot of positives from the Blues. Tough environment there to play in front of all those people. They put on a good effort. They scored a goal. They were very competitive in the match. I still think we're going to see good things from them. Just work on that consistency. Now, another team that appears to be gaining consistency with each game that it plays is Arizona United, and they took a 2-1 win against the Charlotte Eagles. It's third game undefeated for them, second win of the season, and now they've taken 7 points from this opening 4-game homestand that they had at the Peoria Sports Complex. I thought this was very good. I think they were very good indeed in the first half. Second half, not quite as good, but they did enough, and then they were able to hold off a very good Charlotte rally late on. I mean, Jorge Herrera's goal with 15 minutes to go really set up a good finish. Evan Newton come up with a couple of good saves to earn his side the 3 points at the end. Yeah, you're right. Exciting finish to the game, and Charlotte Eagles, a tough road trip for them, but a difficult side to play against. Good players for sure, good side. Very impressed with Arizona and what they're doing, and very impressed with Coach De La Russa and how he's handling the team. Very well organised, playing good football, and as you say, they're getting better with each game. So I think they're going to be a strong contender this season, without doubt. There's definitely a mode of play here for Arizona where they do like to try and get the ball wide, and this has kind of been the key for a lot of the goals that they've scored. They're putting good crosses into the penalty area, and on the first goal by Kadeem Dakers, that was kind of the key to it. You put a ball in the dangerous spot,
Charlotte wasn't quite able to deal with it, and the ball falls to Dacus. He hammers the ball into the back of the net.
Yeah, they've got the guys to do that. I mean, that's the first part of the puzzle. You got to get those guys that can find the space, put themselves in the right position to score, anticipate where the ball's going to come from, where it's going to drop. And they like to play with the wide men, and we're seeing right now they've got some really good quality coming in. So if they keep that up, they're going to score goals.
Interesting thing we'll talk about this weekend. They head out on the road for the first time. Couple of interesting games that they have, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now we've got to talk about the team that made the biggest move of the weekend, and that's the Charleston Battery. Now, a few weeks ago, right before they went on a cold streak in front of goal, I remember someone saying, one of these days they're going to blast someone, and that someone happened to be Harrisburg on Friday night, where Charleston comes out. They looked like the Charleston team we expected to see at the start of the season. Everything seemed to click into place. Omar Salgado grabs a goal. Andre Lewis, Mamadou Diouf each get a goal and an assist. Salgado got an assist as well, I believe, on a really well taken goal by Zach Prince. This was the team that just seemed to click into form. They take 2 wins on the road. They also take a good 2-0 win against Dayton. Additional Cooper with a couple of really good saves to keep the game scoreless before Charleston took the lead through Javier Cordovez late in the first half. But so positive. And now they go from 13th to 4th, and suddenly they're right back in that playoff mix.
Yeah, look, that's just a measure of how competitive the league is. It's really tight, outside of the top 2, there's only a few points separating the bulk of the teams, and so you can put a run together, 2 wins, get you right back where you want to be. I did say that I think if Charleston were firing on all cylinders, they could give somebody a good hiding. They had the potential to do that. And we just haven't seen it, and they managed to get all those pieces in place, and the boys put on a great performance, and they scored 6 goals in 2 games, 2 clean sheets. They've got the pace, the firepower, the technical ability, the defensive organisation, the coach. They've got all the pieces in place there, and they got it right. I think the big part of this was having that flexibility over the weekend, because obviously Mamadou Diouf, Dane Kelly were both back from injury, and so Mike Hanhauser had a full complement of forwards to call on. You have Cordovez, you have Salgado, you have Diouf, you have Kelly. Those are 4 really, really good players that you can then rotate and keep fresh over the course of the 2 games. Yeah, that's the skill of the coach, how you manage these road trips and these multiple games they've got to play, and how you keep players fresh and hungry, and Mike's able to do that. And like you said, if you can keep everybody fit and healthy and motivated and rotating them in and out and get the best out of them when they're called upon, they're going to be a top team. And they've gone from where they would never have thought they would be, down at the bottom of the table, up to I think 4th now. Yeah. So they're really turned the corner. And we said before that you look back at these situations, and there'll no doubt be other situations, but you look back towards the end of the season, you might think, well, what was the key turning point? And maybe this was it. This road trip suddenly has turned things around for them, without doubt. You definitely need those moments, and picking up 6 points on the road in this league is a hard thing to do, and so that'll stand them in good stead because with the number of, obviously they're up to 8 games played already, so it was important for them to get the points, as we mentioned last week, out of these games, because the teams that are behind them, the teams that are now going to be chasing them, have some games in hand on them. But now they've got the points in the bank. I think given what we've seen in recent history, you'd always rather have the points in the bank rather than have to rely on winning your games in hand and playing catch up. Yeah, absolutely. And in Harrisburg or Dayton, they're going to take points off other teams, so they're at 6 points. It's a really great 6 points for them. Harrisburg have taken points off Sacramento, and Dayton will do the same. So that's 2 great wins for Charleston. Well, to talk a little bit more about the 2 wins and his time in Charleston on loan from the Vancouver Whitecaps, we got the chance to talk with Omar Salgado, and that interview will be coming up just after this break. Well, we're very pleased to be joined now by the Charleston Battery and Vancouver Whitecaps FC's Omar Salgado. Omar, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
No problem. How are you guys?
Well, first of all, congratulations on the 2 wins this past weekend. I know that it's been a difficult start for the season in Charleston, but I'm sure you guys were thrilled to get 2 wins and 2 really good wins on the road in Harrisburg and Dayton.
Yeah, no, it was great to get those 6 points. We really needed them. Like Coach said, we had a great weekend. It was an excellent weekend to get those six points and come home and get some 3 points this next weekend.
Watching a few of your games before last weekend, it definitely felt as though you guys were playing well or playing well enough, but the chances just weren't falling for you. Then you get to Harrisburg, you get the opening goal, and then suddenly everything seemed to click into place offensively. Was that how it felt out on the field?
Yeah, completely. I mean, it just felt like things were clicking. We just didn't have that final ball into the back of the net, so it was great to finally get that goal in, and then the team picked it up from there, and I think we could go on a run from now on.
That's obviously the goal. I mean, the way that the standings are right now, you have Orlando and LA are out at the front of the pack, but it seems as though going from week to week, people and teams can make big moves up the standings, just like you guys did this past week. What's the biggest key for the Battery moving forward from here as they look to kind of keep that momentum, especially with 2 big games coming up against Wilmington in a home and home?
Yeah, I mean, I think just learning from these first 5 games, I would say just to be patient and wait for that opportunity. Obviously, the first 5 games we were getting a little frustrated because we couldn't win a game, and things just set up themselves up. So I'm just happy that we got these 6 points, and I feel like Orlando and LA are not far away.
You're obviously down in Charleston from Vancouver right now, and working your way back from some injury setbacks. What's your experience been like with the Battery so far?
It's been great. It's a top-class organization. I think this affiliation is really helping the league out and helping us players out to be able to play at a top level and get some games in. So I'm really happy that this was made.
From some of the stuff we've been seeing on social media, it seems like you've been getting out and about a little bit to meet up with the fans in Charleston. How are you enjoying the city?
Yeah, the city's awesome. Charleston's a great city. I had been here a year ago for the Carolina Challenge Cup, so I had already experienced it, and yeah, I really love it here.
Obviously, the big goal for you is get back on the score sheet, get back to full fitness, and hopefully get back to Vancouver pretty soon. Do you feel like you're on the right track to do that? Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was able to get those 2 goals in this weekend, and I think that boosts my confidence up a lot, and hopefully that game fitness is coming back slowly. So I'm just happy I'm able to play in games and finally score in a professional league game. You obviously had a small setback with your foot earlier this season. When you kind of got the diagnosis and it was only a minor thing, you were only going to be about a week, maybe 2 weeks, was there a sense of relief that it wasn't something else, as it were, that was going to derail things again? Yeah, no, it was great relief. I was very nervous about it, obviously. A 4th break would have been catastrophic, so I'm just glad that I wasn't anything serious, and I could keep my career going. There are obviously some really talented young guys aside from yourself that are down in Charleston from the Whitecaps, and a guy that I think's really pushed to get more playing time, especially with his recent performances, Andre Lewis. What's it been like seeing him in his first preseason and his first professional season down with the Battery? Yeah, he's a great player. He's a great player. I really enjoy playing with him. He's obviously young, still learning. It's his first season in a professional league, so I feel like he's got a bright future in this game. Has it been fun to see what the Whitecaps have been able to do so far this season as well, especially with some of the exciting young forwards that they have up there, like Darren Mattocks and Kakuta Mane? Yeah, no, it's been great. Vancouver's done great this season. It's been fun to watch their games. They've really picked it up this season, as well as every other team in MLS. So obviously it's great to see the competition that there is in the league this year. Is that just extra motivation for you to get back up there and get into that mix because of the way that they're playing and the excitement that they're bringing to the field each game?
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously want to be in that team and want to be able to play in a game with them. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously very motivating to see them win and want to be part of it.
As far as the battery are concerned, obviously you guys want to kick on here, you want to get some more wins. Do you feel as though there's going to be the opportunity to bridge the gap to Orlando and Los Angeles as the season progresses here?
Yeah, I think that, as I said, LA and Orlando aren't very far away. I feel like we could easily catch up to them, and we still got some games against them, so hopefully beat them out and them drop some points and us just pick it up and hopefully win every game for the rest of the season.
Well, Omar, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We really do appreciate it, and best of luck for the rest of this summer.
Thank you very much.
Well, Charleston obviously had a very positive weekend, picking up those 2 wins on the road. Rochester went out on the road, and they maintained their undefeated streak. They picked up a couple of draws, 1-1 in Richmond, 0-0 in Wilmington. I think they might have been a little disappointed given the way that the game against Richmond played out. Alex Dixon comes in, scores in the 89th minute. In most circumstances, you would think they've grabbed 3 points on the road. That's a big result for them. But George Davis IV comes back. Richmond immediately comes back off the next kickoff. Davis IV gets the goal, earns his side a point. That said, 2 draws on the road. It definitely sounded from what I saw in the local media up in Rochester that Bob Lilly was okay with this. He was happy with this, and I think that's the sort of trip that can bring a side together as they now get ready to get into the meat of their home schedule.
Yeah, I think so. And look, I mean, the longer they're undefeated, yeah, fantastic. He's going to be happy with that. And you would have taken, 2 draws out of those 2 games. It's difficult places to go, so you'd have taken a point, I think, or you'd have been happy with a point and hopefully got something a little bit more. And they had it in the bag. The bus was warming up, and they'd got the points, and they'd scored the last-minute goal. And it's a bit cliche, isn't it? But you're never at your weakest as in the few minutes after you've scored a goal. So.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the boys switched off, but I mean, off the kickoff, they hadn't got a touch on the ball. It's sent back. It's sent into the 18-yard box, into the 6-yard box. Bang, goal. I mean, it's they'll feel hard done by with that one for sure. But they remain undefeated,
and that's the big thing. And they remained undefeated on Saturday night because John McCarthy came in and made another couple of really big saves, especially early on in the game. I think it was the 7th minute. Great point-blank save on Daniel Lovitz. Made another very good tipped save late on. I think it was Kyle Miller with the shot. Or for Wilmington. And just tipped a ball over the crossbar that certainly seemed like it was pegged to go right underneath and in, and grab 3 points for the Hammerheads. The Hammerheads, 3 games at home, no goals yet. I think we're looking at a similar situation as we were with Charleston a couple of weeks ago, where this is a team that I think they're going to start scoring goals, and I think they're going to start scoring goals in bunches. It's just a question of when it starts.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, these things they come with confidence sometimes, but they've got the goals. They're capable of scoring goals. They've shown that. They've scored goals at Pittsburgh and on the road. It'll just be a matter of time before they start banging them in at home. I will say to Jason Arnold, the GM, that I am available if it goes on for too much longer. But I've got no doubt that they'll start banging those goals in. And as soon as the first one goes in, that's it.
You saw what happened with Charleston this weekend. The first one goes in, and suddenly the floodgates open.
Yeah.
A team that had the first goal go in maybe a couple of weeks ago now, and the floodgates haven't really stopped, is Orlando City, and they put in another 3 goals on Sunday night. Very impressive performance again against the Oklahoma City Energy. And it's Kevin Molino. It really is about Kevin Molino with this team, where he has 12 points now, leads the league. He has a career high of 4 goals. It's kind of strange to think that Kevin Molino had never scored more than 3 goals in a season until this point, but now he's got 4 goals in 7 games, 12 points in 7 games, and what he's being able to do, everyone else is feeding off that. And you look at Dennis Chin, he's got 4 goals in 5 games. He's now the hot hand, 3 goals in the last 2 games for the Lions. Everything seems to be clicking into place, as they can remain undefeated, remain tied with the Galaxy too at the top of the standings.
Yeah, look, they're the team to beat. It seems like Orlando. They've got off to a good start, and they just keep building upon it. And they do look more impressive each time I see them play. And the coach would say they're not the finished. Adrian would say they're certainly not the finished article. That, so there's room to improve. That's for sure. But they're looking impressive, and quite a number of their players are really contributing. Certainly going forward. And they just look like they've got goals in them every time they do go forward. So it's exciting to watch. Dennis Chin's having a great season so far, and so is Molino. Is I don't know why that is. Why suddenly it's clicking for him this season versus last season. It might be the position. It might be the confidence. It might be their health, a multitude of factors, but he's certainly making them tick, and he's causing a lot of problems, and he's getting behind. He's getting that nice little space, that little pocket between the back four and the midfield, and he's making things tick, and he's giving Dennis Chin so much freedom. So that's the main thing with Dennis at the moment. He's got freedom to roam wherever he likes, and he just keeps popping up and scoring goals. So he's really staking his claim with the manager there for a spot in the MLS.
Well, a guy that might be able to answer your question about what's happened with Kevin Molino this season is Dennis Chin. And we got the chance to talk to him, and that interview will be coming up just after this break. Well, we're very pleased to be joined now by Orlando City's Dennis Chin. Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
All right, no problem.
Well, first of all, congratulations on the great win on Sunday night. I mean, to win 3-1 and to play as well as it looks like you guys are right now, how satisfying was the feeling in the locker room after the game?
It was good, especially after the Rowdy game where we didn't play as well as we wanted to play, and obviously we got the result. But Coach East wasn't very happy about that. So it was good to finally have a decent game. We've yet to put a full 90 minutes together, but it was good all the same.
What does it say about this team that you're saying you haven't put a full 90 minutes together, and yet you're still undefeated 7 games into the season?
Just the standard that Gaffer set for us. He makes sure that everyone knows, even though it's a new team almost every year with us, make sure everyone knows what the standard is, and we set our own standards. So you can win games sometimes where maybe the opposition didn't take care of the chances you've given them. So it tends to happen that way in football. So we have yet to put 90 minutes together, and we know that. And obviously we're undefeated, but we still have a long way to go.
For you personally, it's got to feel really good. You've got 3 goals in your last 2 games, 4 goals in your last 5. After last season and kind of the drop-off that there was after your Golden Boot in 2012, does it feel good to be getting back and scoring goals again?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it feels good. Obviously, scoring goals is always good, but I mean, winning when scoring goals is even better. So as long as we win. So last year I didn't get that title, but we got the championship, so it's better off that way. I'd rather win that team title, which is more important than just all the individual stuff.
Now, the guy that really seems to have come out on fire this season is Kevin Molino. He's already set a new career best with 4 goals, 12 points already, leads the league. What's it been like seeing him? Because he really seems to have taken a big step forward this season.
Oh yeah, he has. I'm actually sitting next to him right now. But yeah, he came in, with a lot to prove. Obviously, being the first MLS signing for Orlando City, so he came in focused in preseason, played well, and now he's reaping the benefits.
You obviously started the season kind of coming off the bench a little bit with Corey Herzog as the starter for the first few games. It seems like there's a role reversal now between the two of you, and is it basically they're just Adrian's going to ride the hot hand while it's going, and do you feel as though you can keep this form up?
Oh, well, I mean, even in the 2012 season where I won the Golden Boot, it was just like that. We always have a rotation here in Orlando, whoever is playing. It used to be me, Max Griffin, me, Matt Luz-Nares. There's always a rotation. So, I don't know, it's just the guy knows what he's doing with his strikers. I mean, he was a great forward himself, so he knows how to handle the team. And right now, it's me, but maybe in the future it'll be him, and it's just whoever's producing at that time and give something to the team.
You mentioned, obviously, Adrian's great career as a forward in England. What's the biggest thing that you've learned from him that you've added to your game as a Lion over the past 3 seasons?
Well, a lot. I mean, before I came here, I didn't know half as much about football that I know now. My movement off the ball it's improved a lot more with Coach Heath. Just being overall aware of the game. Sometimes you just have to expect something that's going to happen, or expect the worst, expect the best. It's just anticipation is a huge part of playing up top. So he's helped a lot with that. Obviously, teaching you how to be a great pro, and I'm still learning that stuff. But yeah, he's helped so much, and not just me, obviously, just because I'm a striker, but even in the back four. So, great help.
You guys make a road trip this weekend. You head up to Pittsburgh, who earned a draw with you first game of the season, and then you also head on to Rochester. What are the big challenges that you're going to face from the Riverhounds and the Rhinos?
Oh, well, they're 2 good teams that we've played already, and those have been very close games. Now, obviously, both teams have a lot more games on their belt compared to when they played us, which was like maybe their first games of the season. So, obviously, playing away on the road as well, back-to-back games is very tough. So it's up to us to hopefully bring the streak we have going and keep playing well, and regardless of the squad that's played on Friday or Saturday, we should hopefully do good.
You're obviously one of the players that right now isn't on an MLS deal, but you're certainly playing the way that I think would get some attention in that regard. Can you even think about that right now, or is it just focused on what's in front of you, focused on the next game, focused on doing the right things so that the team has success, and then whatever happens at the end of the season happens?
Oh, yes. I mean, from day one, even 2011 season, we knew that this club was going to hopefully be in a Major League Soccer. So, I mean, if I would have done that then, it could have been more complicated. So each year, I just taking it, not even year by year, but game by game, because obviously form can go up and down. It's just being a pro is all about consistency. So even this year, most important year you think of my career to date. So I'm just trying to make sure I keep a level head, train well every day, and whatever comes at the end of the season comes.
Well, Dennis, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We really appreciate it, and best of luck on the road trip this weekend.
Thank you.
I think the most fascinating part of that interview with Dennis Chin is him saying that they don't think they've put together a complete 90 minutes yet. And you can see somewhat where they're coming from because of the standards that Coach Heath has with Orlando. And yet, you're 5-0-2, you're joint top of the league, you're the only undefeated team in USL Pro. The fact that you don't think you've played a complete game yet is somewhat scary for maybe Pittsburgh and Rochester, who they go on the road to face this weekend.
Yeah, but that's the challenge for the opposing teams. You find the weaknesses in Orlando, and every team has weaknesses, and they've got to get at them at the back and try and exploit those. And certainly, Pittsburgh and Rochester have the players to do that. And Pittsburgh gave them a really tough challenge in their home opener at Orlando this season, and potentially could have come away with the win there. So they've got the firepower up front. They've just been conceding goals a little bit too easily. But I think this would be a really tough test for Orlando. Tough road trip. Two very difficult teams. One, Pittsburgh, as I said, took some points off them early in the season, and Rochester were recently down at Orlando and gave a really strong performance. So I think this will be a challenge, without doubt, for Orlando.
Pittsburgh, obviously, they're coming off a bye week. They were the only team, I think, that they were one of 2 teams that weren't active in the past week, and they are coming in. They need a win. I mean, they're the only winless team left in the league, and I think no one was expecting that at the start of the season. How big is this game for them in the overall scheme of things? Because it really feels like this is a game they need to get 3 points out of and start making a move.
It's massive. We talked about Charleston last week in that bottom part of the table, needing something, 4 points from those 2 games at least.
Yeah.
And they got 6, and it's turned their fortunes around. Now they're in a totally different mentality as they prepare for the next game now.
Yep.
The pressure's off them, and they can focus on other things. Pittsburgh, very much the same situation. They'll be putting pressure on themselves. They'll be seeing where they are in the table, and that's a negative. That has a negative impact. So they really need to get something from this game. The last game that they had Wilmington there, 3 or 4 goals they scored, and they 3 goals, I believe.
3 goals, yeah.
And you score 3 goals at home, and you still don't come away with the victory. So they're so close. They're just to get across the line, and maybe this weekend's it. But this is a must-win for them.
It's really interesting Saturday night in Rochester. I think this is probably the game that I'm most interested in watching this weekend, Orlando at Rochester, because it seems like after that opening game of the season for the Rhinos at Orlando, where it didn't, the focus didn't quite seem to be there yet, especially defensively. This is a team that now has gained so much defensive focus. They are putting together very good defensive performances, and they've got guys like JC Banks who can steal you a goal and grab you a goal, especially on the counter-attack. So this is a really interesting matchup to me. This is the test of the Rhinos' defense. You were able to stand up to Richmond very well indeed. You were able to stand up to Wilmington well enough to earn a point there. How are you going to do at home against arguably the best attack in the league?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're playing against Orlando, you're playing against the top team in the league, team that's won championships, and so you're going to raise your game, and so every team that Orlando play, it's a tough game for them, because everybody's really gunning to get them. So I thought Rochester gave a really good account of themselves on that previous meeting, but they weren't, like you say, a finished article.
Yeah.
Not that they are now, but they're it's a different team, I think, Orlando's going to face when they go up there. And some of the players like Banks really hitting a bit of form now, scoring some goals. So I think it's going to be a different challenge for them, and I think it's a really strong Rochester side, undefeated, full of confidence now. I think it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, undefeated in 5 games, should be a really good one to watch. Another interesting one to watch, I think, is the LA Galaxy 2's visit to Dayton. Dayton is going to be opening their new home at Dock Field. We saw pictures of that yesterday. The stadium looks very nice indeed. The field looks outstanding. Ruud Gullit going to be on hand, the Dutch former FIFA Player of the Year on hand for the game as their special guest of honour. This is the Galaxy 2's first trip to the East Coast. This is the first time they'll play outside the Western time zone this season. First of all, it'll be interesting to see who joins them, which players are in the squad that travels to Dayton. Mm-hmm. And this is a Dayton team that could really use a boost, because they're coming off a couple of losses, one to Richmond, one to Charleston, and they were looking very bright earlier this season. I think they want to get something out of this game, and they want to make a good first impression to, I think, a lot of fans that are going to be at this game, that are going to be seeing this team for the first time.
Yeah, you're right. Great opportunity for the Dutch Lions here to really measure themselves against one of the top teams and see where they're at right now. They've been a little inconsistent, but they've had some really good performances, some strong performances against some pretty, very good teams in and around where they are. Now they're facing a top team. It'll be a good test for them, and Sid can see how the players react to this. It's a great opportunity for them. New stadium, there'll be a lot of fans coming out to see the game. Ruud Gullit, legend, obviously involved with on the Dutch side and with the Galaxy. So fantastic that he's able to be there and support the Dutch Lions. Credit to them and their front office for making that happen. It'll be interesting to see LA Galaxy how they handle the other time zone. I mean, obviously it's not like they haven't been out to the East Coast before in their lifetimes, but it's not but this season it's going to be interesting. I think that's. I know the coaching staff are keen to see how they perform against some of the other clubs now on the East Coast. They've had a number of weeks now, a number of matches in California and at the StubHub. And I know they're raring to go and really keen to get to places like Rochester and Dayton and Orlando and Charleston and measure themselves against the East Coast teams on their home ground. So certainly should be a good match, but I think Dayton will be hoping to get something from this game.
Definitely, and I think that there's that adrenaline. It's the Galaxy 2 coming in. It's the first game at Dock Stadium. The Galaxy may have to weather a little bit of a storm at the start of this game. We know how Dayton likes to press and push early to try and get that early goal. It's worked for them in the past. It worked for them against Richmond as well. That result didn't quite go the way they were hoping for, but those early pushes, those early forays forward with Eli Garner, Aaron Schoenfeld, and now Ryan Finley getting himself back into the starting lineup, that'll be an interesting test.
Yeah, they've certainly got the players to get behind LA and cause them problems. They've got the players that can score goals. It's just going to be a tough test over 90 minutes against a very strong team that are looking very dangerous going forward.
Now, another team that's heading east for the weekend is Arizona United, and we teased this earlier, but they're coming in to face the Richmond Kickers and the Harrisburg City Islanders this weekend. We've seen this team grow over its first month of the season at the Peoria Sports Complex. Now they take the trip on the road. I'm thinking, given the background of some of the players, given the colleges that some of these players went to, there'll probably be a little bit of road support in the stands, at least in Richmond.
Yeah, and with the coach too. I mean, obviously, background on the East Coast, Virginia, Maryland areas. So I think they'll have a lot of support actually. There'll be no stranger to these areas, but yeah, it's a great opportunity for them. We've seen them perform well now, and they're improving every time we see them play. They're undefeated. They'll be full of confidence. They'll be desperate to get out now and showcase themselves to these other teams.
It's a great litmus test, I think, especially going in to play a team like the Kickers, which obviously has been there or thereabouts one of the best teams in the league over the last 3 seasons. This is a team where you can really gauge whether Arizona may have the staying power to be a playoff contender for the rest of the season. And then they get to go in and they face a Harrisburg side that obviously is very I think embarrassed may be the right word after the loss that they had to Charleston. They'll be wanting to come out and prove a point too. So 2 very tough games for Arizona on the road. It'll test their mettle. It'll test Del Russo's management skills, and it'll also test the depth of their roster. I think the roster depth's there, because you look at some of the guys that they were bringing off the bench last week, like London Woodbury. That's a solid player. He can go 90 minutes in this league. So I think they've got the players to do it. It'll just be a question of can they keep that focus? Can they weather what are going to be 2 very aggressive teams on their home turfs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've got the players, no doubt. They've got a deep squad, and I think the coach will, certainly be able to manage the rotation of the players to get through these 2 games. It'll be interesting. Yeah, it's a good test. Look, you're going to have to beat teams like Richmond if you're going to get anywhere. If you're going to win this league, you're going to have to beat these top teams. So it's. I think they're at a stage now where it's good to face them. I think they're in a different place now as they were a few games ago. So I think they're feeling full of confidence. They're strong. I think they'll be. They'll be well prepared and ready for this match. And you mentioned Harrisburg. I mean, I've been on the end of those kind of results occasionally, and they'll be angry. They'll be angry that let that happen, and they'll be making sure that they come out and put a good performance in, and they'll see this as a new team coming into the league, and perhaps they'll see this as an opportunity for them to get some points. So that'll be a hard-fought game.
Now, a hard-fought game definitely will be on the cards. Charleston and Wilmington begin a home-and-home series this Saturday at Blackboard Stadium. We compared these 2 teams earlier a little bit, with Charleston breaking out of their scoring slump this past weekend. Obviously, Charleston's defence has been very solid so far throughout the season. Even when they were having their scoring troubles, they weren't giving up many goals. It'll be interesting to see if Wilmington can break out of their slump against the Battery. These games, especially last season, the 2 games between these 2 teams were very entertaining. I think we could see some real end-to-end action in this one.
Yeah, I think so. Local derby, the Carolina derby here, and these things sort of rewrite the rule books, in terms of form sometimes. So, we say Wilmington aren't scoring at home and they need to be. Well, this game can be the thing they need, the added spice they need to really make some changes there. Very tough defence they're going up against, though. Real stingy back four. They haven't conceded many goals, Charleston. So obviously it's going to be a tough ask for Wilmington here. But no, this will be a great series. One that the 2 teams really look forward to. They can really promote these games. They get a lot of support, a lot of turnout for this big rivalry. So that should be, like we said, another hard-fought game. Bragging rights in the Carolinas for this one.
Exactly. And then Oklahoma City, they return home after their home-and-home series with Orlando, and they face the Orange County Blues. Now, these 2 teams, they've not had the best go of it recently, especially Oklahoma City, obviously with 2 tough losses against Orlando. But they're both in a position where a win would go a very long way to kind of boosting things, boosting morale for the team. is there a team that needs this win a little bit more than the other? If I'm looking at one over the other, I think it's the Energy, because you always want to get that first home win under your belt, especially expecting another big crowd at Pribble Stadium. Get that positive energy going, get the grid energized and behind you, and get that first 3 points on your home turf.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be it's difficult to say. They both need to win. I've talked about Orange County. I think they just need to be a bit more consistent over 90 minutes and put a 2 or 3 game run together. And I think I think they'll be able to do that. Once they do that, they're on the way. Oklahoma City Energy, I'm sure they've had enough of playing Orlando for the time being. So I think they'll be looking to get going against somebody else, and then not an inconsistent side at this point. I think they're improving every time I see them. Unfortunately, they've just played the top team in the league twice, but gave a really strong account and scored goals. So I think they'll be looking forward to this home match and the opportunity to get some points at home. The home opener, they were unlucky there against Orlando, but that energy and passion in the supporters group with the grid and with all the supporters in that stadium. There'll be a full house again turning out for that, and yes, I think the players and the manager will be desperate to get a home win there. So I think it's going to be that place will be rocking when they do. Energy's
first win in franchise history on the road against the Blues earlier this season. They could do the same thing against Orange County for their first home win. Well, those are the games on the schedule. We hope you'll join us on YouTube to watch all of the action this weekend. Jake, is there anyone in particular you're looking at as a key player in this weekend's matchups?
Yeah, I'll be following the Pittsburgh side, Justin's team there. I think that's going to be a key matchup at Orlando. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm hoping lots of goals, but I'll be keen to see how Matt Dolman gets on. I think he's going to have a challenge on his hand with Luke Bowden. Keeping him back, stopping him from getting up and down. But I think that right side, left side matchup will be pretty intriguing. I think, if he can get the better of Luke, he's going to be getting the ball into the box for Big Jose to get on the end of them. I think that's a key one for Pittsburgh.
Well, for me, I'm looking at the Wilmington-Charleston game, and I'm looking at Daniel Lovitz, who obviously, on loan from Toronto FC, has played very well, was very unlucky not to score last weekend. I think if Wilmington's going to break out of this scoring slump that they've been in the last couple of games, he's going to be the catalyst. He's either going to score the goal himself, or he's going to be the guy that creates it for Mikhail Oliveira, Cody Arnu, or whoever else they have, Sammy Ochoa up front. Watch out for him. I think he's a very talented player, and I think he's really entertaining, really exciting to watch. Well, we hope you'll join us to watch all of the games on YouTube. We hope you'll join us on social media. Follow us on Twitter at USL Pro, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Google Plus, and Facebook. Thank you for joining me, Jake.
My pleasure.
Hopefully we'll have David back again with us next week. Yeah. Thank you for producer Ian for putting all of this together as always, and thank you, listeners, for joining us. We hope you'll join us again this time next week. But until then, bye for now.